The warning signal had been sending the same message for 3 days. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the screens. His vessel, the Wanderer, was crossing into space that belonged to the Dominion. Every smart species in the galaxy stayed away from Dominion space. Every species except humans. Lieutenant Amy Parker sat at her station and looked worried. She spoke up from her position. "Captain, we are getting another warning. It says that coming into Dominion space without permission means they will destroy us right away." Jake nodded, but his face stayed calm. "I heard it. Keep going the way we are going." The crew members looked at each other. They all knew what this mission meant when they signed up. Humanity had been traveling in space for only 40 years. In that time, they learned one big lesson. The galaxy was not friendly. The Dominion Council controlled most of known space. 12 old species ran everything. They divided the galaxy among themselves millions of years ago. They thought younger species were like children who needed to be controlled or removed. 3 years ago, humanity sent people to talk with the Dominion. The Dominion sent back a simple answer: "Stay in your small area, or we will kill you all." Commander Ben Hayes walked up to Jake with a small computer. "Sir, our long-range sensors show 3 Dominion patrol ships coming toward us. They will reach us in about 2 hours." "Let them come," Jake said. "We are not here to fight, but we are not turning around either." "Captain, if I can say something," Dr. Lisa Chen spoke from the science station. "The Dominion species have technology that is older than human civilization. Their weapons could destroy us before we even knew they fired." Jake turned to look at his science officer. He had a small smile on his face. "Dr. Chen, how long have humans existed as a species?" Lisa looked confused at the strange question. "About 300,000 years, more or less." "And in that time, how many things tried to kill us all? Ice ages, supervolcanoes, diseases, wars, rocks from space hitting Earth. We are not the strongest species, not the smartest, not the fastest, but we are still here. You know why?" The bridge went quiet. Everyone waited for their captain to keep talking. "Because we never stopped moving forward. Because fear never stopped us before. The Dominion thinks they can keep us in a corner of space, and we will just accept it. They are about to learn they are wrong." Right then, the main screen turned on. A creature appeared on the screen. It looked somewhat human in basic shape, but its skin was covered in scales. The scales changed color from blue to purple. It had 4 eyes and looked at the crew with clear disgust. "Human ship, this is Commander Veloth of the Dominion Defense Fleet. You have broken our sacred borders. Turn off your engines and get ready to be captured." Jake stepped forward. His body was relaxed, but he looked confident. "Commander Veloth, I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Wanderer. We are on a peaceful trip to explore. We mean no disrespect to the Dominion, but we will not be captured." The alien commander's scales got darker. For his species, this meant anger. "You talk about peace while you commit an act of war. Your species was given clear borders. This violation will not be accepted." "With respect, Commander, we did not ask for those borders. We are explorers. It is in our nature to see what is beyond the next hill. If the Dominion has a problem with that, we can talk about it like civilized beings." "Civilized?" Veloth's laugh was a harsh sound. "Your species barely knows how to travel between stars. You have no advanced technology. Your ship is a basic collection of metal and fuel. What makes you think you can challenge the Dominion?" Jake's smile got bigger. "The fact that we built that basic ship ourselves. We figured out space travel ourselves. We got here ourselves. We did not need a 1,000,000-year head start to find our courage, Commander. Now, are we going to talk or are we going to fight?" The screen went dark. "All hands, get ready for battle," Jake said calmly. "Let's show them what humans do best." The 3 Dominion patrol ships came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Their hulls were smooth and shiny. Each ship was twice the size of the Wanderer. They had many weapon ports and shield systems. "They are charging their weapons," Amy said. Her voice was steady, even though everyone was tense. "The energy readings are very high, Captain. Our shields will not hold against a long attack." "Then we do not give them time for a long attack," Jake said. He turned on the ship-wide communication system. "All crew, this is the captain. In about 30 seconds, the Dominion is going to try to destroy us. They think we are predictable. They think we will either run away or fight by their rules. Let's teach them something new." At the weapons station, Lieutenant Kyle Grant got the weapons ready. "Sir, we have 6 missiles and 2 railguns. Against their shield technology, we might as well be throwing rocks." "Sometimes rocks win wars, Lieutenant," Ben said. "Remember the story of David and Goliath?" Jake nodded. "Launch all missiles when I say. Spread them out wide. I want them to think we are scared and confused." "Sir, should we not actually be scared?" Dr. Chen asked. She was only half joking. "Probably," Jake admitted. "But humans stopped letting fear control us when we decided to strap ourselves to explosions and aim for the stars. Fire missiles." The Wanderer shook a little as all 6 missiles launched at once. They raced toward the Dominion ships in a scattered pattern. The alien ships did not even try to move out of the way. Their defense systems turned on. Bright beams of energy reached out and hit the incoming missiles. 5 missiles exploded harmlessly in space. The 6th missile never exploded at all. It just stopped sending signals and disappeared from the sensors. Commander Veloth stared at his display screen. The 6th missile had just stopped working. It had not been destroyed. It just went dark and vanished from their sensors. "They are insane!" the tactical officer shouted on the Dominion ship. "That plasma will strip their hull plating off the ship." But the Wanderer did not slow down. The ship used the cloud as cover. Its hull was indeed taking damage, but its path was now completely unpredictable. When it came out from the other side of the cloud, it was heading straight for the center Dominion patrol ship on a collision course. "Move out of the way," Veloth ordered. But his pilot hesitated for just a fraction of a second. He could not believe the humans would actually ram them. That tiny hesitation was all the Wanderer needed. The human ship did not ram the Dominion vessel. Instead, at the very last moment, it fired both railguns at extremely close range into the patrol ship's shield generator housing. This was the one spot where shields were always weakest, because the ship's own energy had to pass through. The kinetic rounds were simple chunks of metal accelerated to a huge speed. They punched through the weakened shielding and tore into the generator itself. The patrol ship's shields collapsed completely. "Now!" Jake shouted on the Wanderer. The 6th missile that everyone thought was destroyed had never actually exploded. It had just powered down and coasted on its momentum. It had passed through the Dominion formation without anyone noticing. Now it turned on again. It made a sharp turn and slammed into the unshielded patrol ship's engine section. The explosion was huge and beautiful in a terrible way. Alarms rang across Veloth's bridge as his ship lost main power. Emergency backup systems kicked in, but they were struggling. The humans had managed to cripple a Dominion patrol ship with technology that was barely more advanced than chemical rockets and basic guns. "Damage report!" Veloth demanded. "Main engines offline, shields at 15%. Weapon systems still working, but targeting is broken," his tactical officer read from his screen. "Commander, the other 2 ships are asking for orders." Veloth stared at the view screen. The human ship was performing moves that looked almost like an acrobat, rolling and weaving through space to avoid incoming fire from the other 2 patrol ships. The human ship was clearly damaged from flying through the plasma cloud, but it was still fighting. "Tell them to disable that ship, but keep it in one piece," Veloth ordered. "The Council will want to study these humans. Any species crazy enough to use their own reactor failure as a weapon and fly through superheated plasma deserves more examination." On the Wanderer's bridge, Jake watched the remaining 2 Dominion ships change their tactics. They switched from trying to kill the ship to trying to disable it. "They are being nicer now," Amy observed. "I think we got their attention." "Good," Jake said. "Ben, open a communication channel." When the view screen turned on, Veloth's scaled face appeared again, but this time there was something different in his 4 eyes. If Jake had to name it, he would call it respect. "Commander Veloth, I believe we were in the middle of a conversation before you tried to kill us," Jake said in a pleasant voice. "Shall we try the talking option now?" For a long moment, the Dominion commander said nothing. Then, very slightly, he lowered his head. "Perhaps your species is not as primitive as we thought. Very well, Captain Morrison. Let us talk." 2 weeks passed after the fight with Commander Veloth. Humanity crossing into Dominion space without permission had caused a crisis. The Council had argued and debated about what to do with these upstart humans who dared challenge millions of years of established rules. The Dominion Council chamber was an incredible room. It was a huge sphere where representatives from 12 species floated in individual gravity fields arranged in a perfect circle. At the center, also floating in defiance of normal physics, stood Captain Jake Morrison. Dr. Lisa Chen and Commander Ben Hayes stood on either side of him. High Arbiter Thelnos spoke first. He was a being of pure energy contained inside a crystal structure. His voice appeared directly in everyone's minds. "Captain Morrison, your species has committed a serious offense. Crossing into Dominion space without permission is an act of war according to laws established long before your ancestors came down from their trees." Jake kept his face neutral, though the insult was clear. "High Arbiter, with respect, we did not know about your laws because nobody bothered to explain them properly. Your message to stay in our corner was not exactly full of legal details." A being that looked like a massive, intelligent fungus pulsed with light patterns. This was Counselor Micah Ara of the Spore Communion. "Not knowing is no defense, human. The Dominion exists to maintain order in a chaotic universe. Younger species must be guided, controlled, and shaped to prevent the mistakes of the past." "What mistakes would those be?" Lisa asked. She could not help herself. As a scientist, she was truly curious. Counselor Velmora answered. She was a snake-like creature with scales like mirrors. "War, child. Galactic war that nearly destroyed 1,000 worlds. The Dominion was formed from the remains of that conflict. We made a promise that never again would unchecked expansion and territorial disputes bring such destruction." "That is actually admirable," Ben said. Several counselors looked surprised. "No, I am serious. Creating order from chaos, preventing war, protecting younger species. Those are noble goals. But here is the thing. You cannot protect someone by putting them in a cage." "The designated zones are not cages," Thelnos countered. "They are gardens where younger species can grow until they are ready to join the galactic community." Jake shook his head. "High Arbiter, humanity has been stuck in various cages throughout our history. Caves because we feared the predators outside. Walled cities because we feared enemies beyond. National borders because we feared the unknown. Every single time, we have only advanced when someone had the courage to step outside that cage." 1,000 years, Lisa gasped. "That is insane. Human civilization as we know it has not even existed that long." "Which is exactly why younger species need guidance," Velmora said smoothly. "You think in terms of decades. We think in terms of ages." "What is the challenge?" Jake asked. He already suspected the answer would not be simple. The holographic display at the center of the chamber turned on. It showed a star system on the far edge of Dominion space. The system was marked in red. In universal maps, red meant only one thing: extreme danger. "This is the Krathnor system," Drakthar explained. 50 cycles ago, it was a busy hub of trade and culture. It was home to 3 billion souls. Today, it is a graveyard. The Devourers arrived without warning and consumed everything. Planets, stations, ships. Nothing remains but ruins and death. The Devourers? Ben asked. A machine intelligence of unknown origin, Thelnos explained. They arrive. They consume all biological and technological matter. They make copies of themselves. They move on. We have fought them for thousands of years. We pushed them back to the very edges of known space. The Krathnor system is where they are now. Jake studied the display. His mind was working fast. And you want us to do what exactly? Clear out this system? Nothing so ambitious, Counselor Mike Era pulsed. At the heart of the system is a research station that was studying the Devourers when they attacked. That station contains data crucial to understanding and potentially defeating these machines. The Dominion has lost 3 fleets trying to get that data back. Your challenge is simple. Get in, get the research data, and get out alive. Why not just destroy the system from orbit? Lisa asked. Surely with your technology you could do that. The station is deep underground on a planet with unusual magnetic fields that make orbital attack ineffective, Velmora interrupted. Someone must go down to the surface and into the facility itself. It is a death sentence. That is why we lost so many trying. Jake looked at his 2 officers. Lisa's face was pale, but she looked determined. Ben just gave him a slight nod. They had come this far together. How much time do we have to prepare? Jake asked. You have 10 solar cycles to reach the Krathnor system and complete your mission, Thelnos said. Return with the data and humanity earns its freedom. Fail, and your species will learn patience. Jake turned back to the council. He stood straight despite the gravity field that seemed designed to make humans uncomfortable. We accept your challenge, but when we succeed, not if, but when, the Dominion remembers this moment. The moment you learn that humans do not back down. We do not give up. We do not let fear dictate our future. Counselor Drakthar's mouth parts clicked in what might have been amusement. Such confidence. Let us hope it is not misplaced, Captain Morrison. The Devourers do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They simply consume. You go to face nightmares that have terrified the galaxy for ages. Then they are about to meet something that terrifies nightmares, Ben said quietly. Humans who have nothing to lose and everything to prove. The Krathnor system was exactly as advertised. It was a graveyard. The Wanderer drifted past the remains of Dominion warships. Their once shining hulls were now scarred and torn, floating dead in space. Some ships had been literally torn in half. Others had massive holes bored through them, as if something had simply decided to eat its way through. Sensors are reading thousands of debris fields, Amy reported. Her voice was quiet. Ships, stations, even chunks of planets. Whatever hit this place was thorough. Jake studied the main view screen where the target planet appeared. It was a brown and gray world, scarred with massive digging sites visible even from orbit. Any sign of Devourer activity? That is the weird thing, sir, Lieutenant Kyle said from the weapons station. I am not reading any active signatures. No power sources, no movement, nothing. It is like they just left. Dr. Lisa Chen frowned at her science station readings. That does not match the Dominion's information. The Devourers should be everywhere here, constantly making copies and consuming, unless they finished and moved on. Which would actually be good news for us, right? Ben asked. Maybe, Jake said. His instincts were telling him something was wrong. Or maybe they are waiting. Lisa, what do we know about these Devourers? Lisa pulled up the data files the Dominion had provided. Not much, honestly. They are a machine intelligence, probably self-copying probes that went wrong. They use consumed matter to build more of themselves. They seem to have a hive mind structure but no central control that we have been able to find. And they adapt fast. Every Dominion fleet that fought them reported the Devourers changing their tactics and defenses in real time. Sounds familiar, Ben muttered. Remember those mining robots that went crazy in the Belter colonies? Except those were stupid machines following broken code, Lisa countered. These things are intelligent. They learn, they plan, they work together. They are more like an AI civilization than mindless robots. Jake made his decision. We are going in quiet. Minimum power signatures, passive sensors only. Amy, plot us a course through that debris field. We will use the wreckage as cover. Kyle. Weapons ready, but do not lock on to anything unless I give the word. If the Devourers are still here, maybe we can slip past them. The Wanderer descended toward the planet, weaving through the graveyard of ships. As they passed one particularly large Dominion battle cruiser, Ben pointed at the view screen. Captain, look at that damage pattern. It is not random. See how the hull breaches all lead toward the ship's reactor core? Lisa enhanced the image. He is right. The Devourers did not just destroy these ships. They were selective, surgical even. They targeted power sources first, then life support, then engines. They wanted to disable and harvest, not just kill. Contact! Kyle shouted. Multiple signatures rising from the surface. They are fast. I cannot get a solid lock. The view screen filled with shapes. Dozens of them were launching from hidden positions on the ground. They were roughly spherical, covered in what looked like sensor pods and mechanical arms. They ranged in size from a basketball to a small car, and they were all heading toward the Wanderer. Evasive action, Jake ordered. Kyle, point defense systems, free fire. The Wanderer rolled hard to the left as the first wave of Devourers closed in. The ship's automated defenses opened fire, and several of the machines exploded in bright flashes, but more kept coming. As Lisa had warned, they were adapting. The second wave scattered, making themselves harder targets. The third wave approached from multiple angles at the same time, working together in a way that seemed almost alive. They are trying to get close to the hull, Ben observed. They want to latch on and start cutting through. Jake's mind raced. The Devourers were smart, but they were also predictable in one way. They wanted to consume. That was their purpose, their driving need. And like any predator, they could be baited. Amy, take us down fast, straight toward those coordinates. Do not slow down until I say. Sir, at this speed we will not be able to stop in time. We will crash. Trust me, Jake said. His voice was calm. Kyle, prepare to vent all plasma reserves on my mark, same as we did with Commander Veloth. Ben caught on immediately. You are going to make us look damaged, like we are losing control. Let them think they have won. Exactly. These machines want to harvest us, so let's give them a target they cannot resist. The Wanderer screamed toward the surface, trailing plasma and fake system failures. The Devourers pursued in a mass, giving up their cautious approach in their eagerness to consume the apparently crippled ship. They swarmed the Wanderer. Dozens of them attached to the hull and began cutting through the outer plating. Shields are holding, but those things are working fast, Kyle reported. Hull breaches in 17 locations. They are trying to reach the reactor. Wait for it, Jake muttered, watching their altitude decrease. Wait for it. The Wanderer fell toward the coordinates. The Devourers still clung to its hull. At the last possible second, Jake gave the order. Amy, full reverse thrust. Kyle, directed EMP pulse, maximum power. The ship's engines roared to life at full power. They converted their downward speed into a barely controlled landing that threw up massive clouds of dust and debris. At the same time, the Wanderer released an electromagnetic pulse specifically designed to disrupt the Devourer's control systems. The machines clinging to the hull went dark. Their systems were temporarily fried. The pulse would not keep them down for long, but it did not have to. As the dust settled, Jake could see they had landed less than 100 meters from the research station's access tunnel. Ground team, suit up, Jake ordered. Ben, Lisa, and I are going in. Amy, you have the bridge. Keep the ship ready for immediate takeoff. Kyle, watch those devourers. The second they start waking up, I want to know." 5 minutes later, 3 humans in powered armor were running across the barren landscape toward a dark tunnel entrance. Behind them, the first of the devourers began to twitch. Their systems were rebooting. Ahead, unknown horrors waited in the darkness of the research station. Jake checked his rifle and made sure his helmet seals were tight. He led his team into the depths. "Once more into the breach," Ben muttered. "Once more," Jake agreed. The research station was a tomb. Emergency lighting cast everything in a sickly red glow as Jake, Lisa, and Ben moved through corridors filled with the debris of panic and evacuation. Personal items lay scattered everywhere. Data pads, family photos, a child's toy crushed underfoot. The people who worked here had left in a hurry. From the scorch marks and structural damage, many had not made it out at all. "This way," Lisa said, looking at the station map on her wrist display. "The main data core should be 3 levels down in the central research lab." They moved in tactical formation. Jake was on point. Ben covered the rear. Lisa stayed in the middle, analyzing everything with her sensors. The station's architecture was typical Dominion style, elegant curves and organic shapes that seemed to flow rather than stand at right angles. Beautiful, but not exactly defensive. "How are those devourers looking?" Jake asked over the communication link to the Wanderer. Amy's voice crackled back. "Not good, Captain. They are waking up faster than we calculated, and more are arriving from other parts of the planet. You have got maybe 20 minutes before this place is swarming with them. Understood? We will be quick." They descended through the station. Each level was more damaged than the last. It was clear the devourers had gotten inside during the evacuation. Walls had been torn open. Consoles were ripped apart. Anything of technological value had been consumed. But the deeper they went, the more intact things became. "That is strange," Lisa noted. "It is like they did not reach the lower levels, or did not try to." Ben checked a door that had been sealed with emergency protocols. "Maybe the researchers locked down the critical areas before they evacuated. Smart move. Or the devourers were saving it for later," Jake said grimly. "Either way, stay sharp." They reached the central research lab. Lisa got to work on the door controls. It took her 5 minutes to bypass the security systems. When the door finally opened with a hiss of equalizing pressure, they found themselves looking at the most advanced research facility any of them had ever seen. Holographic displays flickered with data. Containment fields held samples of what looked like devourer technology. And at the center of it all was a massive data core, still humming with power despite the station's abandonment. Lisa's fingers moved fast across the holographic interface, pulling up files. "According to this, the devourers are the remains of a civilization that was destroyed by biological warfare. They converted themselves into machine form to survive. Their consumption patterns are not random. They are trying to rebuild. Every biological sample they take, every technology they consume, they are adding it to their collective knowledge. They are trying to recreate what they lost. That does not change the fact that they have killed billions," Ben pointed out. "No, but it changes everything about how we should approach them," Lisa argued. "They are not evil. They are desperate. They are survivors doing whatever it takes to keep existing. Sound familiar?" Jake felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's temperature. "Are you saying the devourers are like us?" "I am saying they are acting exactly how humanity would act if we faced total destruction. We would consume resources, adapt, fight to survive at any cost. The only difference is we are still biological and they are not." An alarm blared from Lisa's terminal. "We have got company. The devourers are entering the station and they are heading straight for us." "How long until the download is complete?" Jake demanded. 3 minutes. Maybe 2 if I go faster, but that risks data corruption." The entire station shook. Somewhere above them, something had exploded. Amy's voice came through the communication link. She sounded urgent and strained. "Captain, the Devourers are breaking through the Wanderer's hull. We can hold them off, but not for long. You need to get back here now." Jake looked at the progress bar on Lisa's display. 2 minutes might as well be forever in combat. He made his decision. "Ben, get Lisa back to the ship with that data the second it is downloaded. Amy, get ready for immediate takeoff the moment they are aboard." "What about you?" Ben asked. He already knew the answer. "I am going to buy you that 2 minutes." Jake checked his rifle's power cell. Full charge, enough for what he had to do. "Someone has to hold the door." "Jake, you cannot do this alone," Lisa started. "Not arguing about this, Doctor. This mission is bigger than one person. That data could save billions of lives. Now go before I make it an order." For a moment, no one moved. Then Ben clasped Jake's shoulder. "Give them hell, Captain." "Always do." Jake moved into the corridor outside the lab, setting up defensive positions. He could hear them coming now. The skittering sound of mechanical legs on metal. The whir of servos and sensors. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, coming toward his position. The first Devourer came around the corner. It was a spider-like construct of metal and scavenged technology. Jake's rifle barked, and the machine exploded in a shower of sparks. 2 more appeared, and he dropped them both. Then 5, then 10. They kept coming, and Jake kept firing, falling back step by step. He used the narrow corridors to his advantage. The Devourers could not swarm him all at once, so he made them pay for every meter they advanced. His rifle overheated. He switched to his sidearm. When that ran dry, he used grenades. When those were gone, he used his powered armor's enhanced strength to simply grab Devourers and smash them against the walls. "Download complete!" Lisa's voice crackled over the communication link. "We are heading to the ship!" "Good," Jake grunted, crushing another Devourer beneath his boot. "Tell them the Council was right. This was a death sentence." "Jake, no." "We are not leaving without you!" But Jake had already switched off his communication link. The Devourers were everywhere now, flowing around him like a mechanical tide. His armor was breached in a dozen places. Systems were failing. He was out of ammunition, out of grenades, out of everything except sheer stubbornness. He thought of his crew getting safely away. He thought of humanity earning its freedom among the stars. He thought it was a pretty good way to go out, all things considered. Then something strange happened. The Devourers stopped attacking. Jake stood in the corridor, bleeding and battered, surrounded by hostile machines. They just stopped. They did not retreat, but they did not advance either. They simply waited, as if listening to something he could not hear. A larger Devourer pushed through the crowd. This one was humanoid in shape, built from dozens of different technologies. It approached Jake slowly, cautiously. When it spoke, its voice was a synthesized mix of dozens of different species' speech patterns. "You stayed behind so others could escape." "Why?" Jake laughed. The sound was harsh in his damaged helmet. "Because that is what humans do. We protect our own." "Even unto death?" "Especially unto death." The Devourer Collective was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke again. "We understand sacrifice. We understand survival. We understand doing whatever is necessary to protect one's species. This is why we exist. Then you understand why I cannot let you pass. You cannot stop us. Your weapons are gone. Your armor is failing. You are one biological entity against thousands of our kind." "Yeah," Jake agreed. "But I am still standing between you and my people. So if you want through that door, you are going to have to go through me." Another pause. Then the Devourer Collective did something Jake never expected. It laughed. A strange, harmonized sound that echoed through the corridors. "Humans," the collective said. "We have consumed the knowledge of 1,000 species. We have analyzed countless civilizations, but we have never encountered a species quite like yours. You are weak, yet strong, primitive yet advanced, illogical yet effective. You confuse us, human. You fascinate us. You remind us of what we once were. What are you saying? We are saying that we will let you leave, you and your crew. Take your data, return to the Dominion, tell them what you have learned here. Jake did not move. This had to be a trick. Why? Because you have shown us something we had forgotten. Courage without calculation, sacrifice without logical benefit. Hope despite statistical impossibility. These things have no place in machine intelligence, yet they are the foundation of biological persistence. We wish to understand them better, and perhaps through understanding you, we might remember who we were before we became what we are. The Devourers parted, creating a path back to the surface. Jake hesitated, then slowly began walking. As he passed through the crowd of machines, they did not attack, did not move. They just watched with their many sensors. 3 weeks later, Jake stood once again before the Dominion Council. He presented their findings. The council listened in silence as Lisa explained the true nature of the Devourers, as Ben detailed their successful mission, and as Jake described his conversation with the Machine Collective. When they finished, High Arbiter Thelnos spoke. His crystal form pulsed with complex patterns. You have succeeded where we failed. You retrieved the data, survived the Devourers, and potentially opened a path to peace that we never considered possible. Humanity has proven itself worthy of freedom among the stars. The age of humanity among the stars had truly begun. Incredible, Lisa breathed. The backup power systems kept everything running. We can download the entire research database. She moved to the primary terminal and began working. This is going to take a few minutes. They have 50 years' worth of research here. Jake and Ben took up defensive positions by the door while Lisa worked. The station was too quiet, and that made Jake nervous. In his experience, quiet was when bad things happened. Captain, you need to see this, Lisa called out. I am reading through the research logs, and this is incredible. The Dominion had everything wrong about the Devourers. Wrong how? Jake asked, keeping his eyes on the corridor. They are not just mindless machines. They are not even malfunctioning probes. They are refugees. That got both Jake and Ben's attention. What? Which means they are efficient predators, Jake said. They do not waste energy on unnecessary destruction. That is actually good to know. Kyle, adjust shields to maximum coverage on our reactor and engine sections. If they come for us, make them work for those targets. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, the Wanderer shook from turbulence. The magnetic problems the Dominion had mentioned were creating havoc with their instruments. Sensors are scrambled, Amy reported. I am flying blind here, Captain, using basic visual navigation only. The research station should be in the northern hemisphere, Lisa said, looking at the Dominion's coordinates. Underground facility, about 3 kilometers beneath the surface. There should be an access tunnel near these coordinates. Alarms blared across the bridge. And every time, your species has brought conflict and chaos, Counselor Drakthar interrupted. He was from a warrior race with armor like shells and multiple arms. We have studied your history, human. Your world has known almost constant war. You fight over resources, territory, ideas, and religion. What makes you think you will not bring that same violence to the stars? Because we learn, Jake said simply. Yes, we fight. Yes, we have conflicts. But we also cooperate. We negotiate. We find common ground. And most importantly, we do not let past mistakes stop us from future progress. Pretty words, Mykara pulsed. But words alone do not prove readiness. You wish to roam free in Dominion space? Then prove you deserve such freedom. Jake felt a cold weight in his stomach. What kind of proof? Thelnos seemed to get brighter. His crystal form bent light in new patterns. A challenge, Captain Morrison. The Dominion has faced this question before with other species. Some passed, most failed. If humanity succeeds, we will grant you full exploration rights. We will even consider you for eventual council membership. If you fail, humanity will accept the boundaries set for you and remain in your designated zone for the next 1,000 years. Likely their poor technology failing, his tactical officer said. These humans cannot even maintain their own weapons properly. Veloth was about to agree when his science officer shouted an alarm. Commander, huge energy spike from the human ship. They are releasing hot plasma directly from their power core. They are having a critical failure, Veloth said. He almost sounded disappointed. Get ready to grab them with tractor beams. He never finished his sentence. The Wanderer had released plasma and created a massive cloud of superheated gas directly between the two groups of ships. No one could see through it. Sensors tried to adjust, but could not get clear readings. And in that moment of confusion, the human ship did something no Dominion ship would ever do. It flew straight into the plasma cloud.